Yeah, and I appreciate that, Gabe, because seriously, Deanna and I, my wife Deanna, we help teach an addiction recovery program. And it's so awesome because what it has made is everybody's coming into that class with an imperfection, and we all become one united family. And I'm sure that everybody that's watching your videos and your YouTubes, if they look at their life, when they find somebody that has that same problem or an issue that's close to it, they're able to watch them, learn from them, gain from them, and be able to
Hmm.
walk forward so much stronger than just keeping it to ourselves. That's the whole point of all of us. I really believe being here.
Yeah, I believe that's a great point, and I absolutely love that too. And before we, because Ray owns a business, so we're gonna jump into that. But before we do that, how long have you been running that class that you were just discussing?
We've been doing it for almost 3 years, and it
Wow.
has just been fun. I'm an emotional creep. Okay, I really do
Please
get
share.
emotional on a lot of things, but just so many of them that's come to that class, and I see so much growth in them that I'm just. It amazes me. We had one young man that started into drugs. That's all he knew was drugs and alcohol and everything since he was 13. He's
Wow.
28 now. Been in prison, been in jail, back and forth till he finally hit the bottom of the bucket. He started coming to the program, and he goes to a lot of other programs too that's
Good.
helped him along the way. But to watch the growth that he has done, and now he's going to become a counselor into drug
What?
abuse, is just
That's incredible.
it's amazing, just totally amazing. He's a great, great young man. But all he's ever known all his life was drugs, alcohol. Then,
Yeah.
when he did eliminate it, which I didn't realize, so he taught me a great lesson in the program too, was once he eliminated all that in his life and got rid of all his friends, dropped Facebook, dropped everything because he knew he wasn't going to be able to accomplish what he needed to.
Right.
Then he came up and he said, I don't know how to exist in this life. He didn't know what to do or
Right.
how to even relate to people that weren't within the, drugs and all that sort of stuff. But he was able to overcome that and learn it. And he took many challenges. And it's just amazing. The young man, I'm so impressed with him.
That's
He's a
fantastic.
great,
Yeah.
great guy.
Yeah. Shout out to him. That's incredible to see people make that turn because it is a very, very difficult thing to do. Making a sacrifice, even if you have nothing and you still have that addiction, it's so, so, so hard to cut that out. And so to make that sacrifice of not even getting rid of the alcohol that's in your apartment, it's getting rid of the friends that bring you to it, it's getting rid of the media that makes it easy to grab it. It's awesome. So shout out to him. So what got you interested to even start that program and start teaching?
Oh, actually, we were called into it because it's a program within the church that we belong to, and
Oh,
so
good.
every now and then they call people to go and help teach it. At the same time, before that, several years before that, um, and when we get into our business, it's interesting that there's a program. It's called the MK House. It's here in town. That's a program that there's young people 18 and younger that have gotten into drugs and problem with law and all that sort of stuff. And so instead of sending them to jail, it's a program that they can go into. They have their house bound. They are not. You can walk out of the house, and of course, if they do leave, they do know that they'll probably end up in jail. But it's an
Right.
opportunity that they can go there and they have to live there. I actually went there to repair a sofa, and when I was learning about the program, it was awesome.
That's
And
good.
so I was really wishing, this is really interesting how it worked out. I was really wishing somehow I could be involved in that. And of course, I'm really busy with my job. I usually work 13, 14-hour days, and I really love it. I'm a workaholic. Um, but I was, for some reason, just looked at the Help One ads, and there was a deal in there that was wanting some help within the MK house. And so I went and interviewed for it. And even though I didn't really have time for it, there was 4 years I went 56 hours without sleep
Oh my
because I'd
gosh.
leave that job and go to my job to work. But oh my gosh, it was so worth it to be with these young people and the trials and things that have happened to them and what other people have done to them to put them in that situation. And some of them with sad cases,
Right.
they left the program and some ended up dying with overdoses and
Wow.
everything. And then there was great, great, wonderful successes too.
Yeah.
So that actually has always had my interest in it. So then when I had an opportunity to jump onto this bandwagon, it's a
Perfect.
for sure type thing
Right.
for me.
Well, thank you so much for donating your time. Not a lot of people would even think or consider volunteering or going out of their way to help people. So, congrats to you. It speaks to your character for sure for sacrificing your time and trying to help others in such a serious way. I mean, I personally been affected by, just, first of all, just the high school and society of drugs and alcohol, but let alone that, a lot of friends and family that have just dove down that hole. And some people have passed and some people are still going through it. And it's so hard to witness that as like a family member or a friend, or just to see that going on, and it's painful. And so to see people actually go out there and try to make a difference it's incredible. It's incredible.
Well, though, people were there for me.
Right.
Just touching a little base again, same process. What happens to us when we're young and things that create is put us on our path of maybe where we need to be at particular points. My mother was a horrible person. She had agoraphobia, which means that she does not go out. There was times that she lived in the house, and we got to see her 15 minutes on Sunday.
Really.
Because even being within the same home, she had been married several times. I have 5 brothers. All of us have different fathers, type of an idea. And my father was an extreme alcoholic. So that was a negative. And I'm not crying. I am not shedding tears with what happened in my life at all.
Right.
Because without those experiences, I don't believe I'd be where I am today.
Agree.
Exactly. So that's why I'm saying. But I do remember one day, it was a really bad day. And I'm going to tell you a lot of my imperfections here.
Right.
I used to lay in bed and try to figure out how I could kill my mother and not be caught. I mean, I hate to admit that, but that's about the level I was. And it was a really, really bad day for me. And I happened to leave. And a stranger saw me. And he was a great turning point. He felt like he needed to come up and talk to me, thank goodness. And so I was at that point, and I just kind of bore my soul to this gentleman. And he gave me great advice. He sat and listened to my story. And then he looked at me and he said, well, I'll give you a little information. He said, you cannot choose your parents, but you can choose your children's parents.
Mm-hmm.
That was a turning point. And so as you look at those things and how other people, you have no idea what little comments you may say and things you may do for somebody that's at that point that needs that involvement.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times that's why I like to do what I do, because hopefully I can be that one person that may alter or change and give direction as he was.
Right. That's fantastic.
And I wish I knew who he was.
You don't know who he was.
I still
Never
to
got
this day don't. I don't know that he would ever understand the impact that he has made. And not only on my life, but on so many other people because of the change I made and on my own family.
And exactly. It's a ripple effect. And that is
It is.
fantastic.
It's awesome. So that's why I love Imperfection. And as I watched some of your videos, I thought this is really cool, that the impact you can have on somebody else. We can judge another dumb story again. I was that nerd in high school. I worked a lot. I really didn't know very many people. You have the desire to know and have friends, type thing, but that wasn't in my cards at that time. And there's people for years, that you look at, and like this one guy that was in high school, I call the Greek god. I was the nerd, the skinny little guy that, that everybody just kind of poked on the chest. And he was what I call the Greek god, a really good-looking guy, muscles that never quit. I mean, people really liked him. He was very, very popular. And I used to look at him, and I wished he would never taught me this lesson, but I used to look at him as I did many people and think, why couldn't that be me?
Oh, yeah.
Why can't that be me? How many of us do that? The lesson I got from him was 2 years out of high school, he came down with a disease. that put him right into a wheelchair to where he had to be fed, had hardly any life at all, if you can call it that.
Wow.
And as I looked at him and I thought, and I used to wish I was him. So we don't know what other people are going through or what's going to happen in their life. So somehow we need to figure out what we need to do with our life and ourself and become positive with that, and then try to make a difference in other people's lives that I believe that you are, that impact is. I still always judged myself trying to wish I was other people, and I always seen my own imperfections. But again, that's why I kind of started watching your YouTubes, because there's also another one out there that was called Special Books by Special Kids. I don't know if you've seen that. As I listened to these stories of these kids, oh my gosh, I will never judge myself to somebody else again. And I wished I would have seen that years and
Oh
years
yeah.
and years ago.
Oh yeah.
So what you're doing, I think, is awesome.